Excited about this, and I am just pumped to finally get to show this off to all of you. This is something that we have just been, we're always looking to how can we best fine tune the way that my AI works for you to make it better and better all the time. And I think this is one of those big leap forward moments. And so I'm really excited to share it with you. So let me get my screen up here and I'm going to show you how this works. So bear with me 1 second and let's show you. So I'm going to show you the desktop version of this. This is one of the couple of things that you're going to do primarily on desktop is you're going to train your AI on desktop. So once you have this set up, you can do it on desktop or on mobile, but I'm going to show you how this works over here on our desktop version. And so I'm going to come over here on the left-hand side, and I'm going to hover over our AI button, and I'm going to come to train my AI. You can also get there right from the homepage. You see it down here, train my AI. So I'm going to click on train my AI, and we have just launched something really cool and new that is going to help your AI to sound even more like you. So you may remember when you first set up your AI, you had the option to select these different sliders and to set it up to kind of have the right tone for you. But we knew that we wanted to go a step further than that. And so we now have this new ability for you to fine tune your writing style. And so you can see down here, you've got these special instructions where you can type into a box, who do I want to sound like, or how do I want to sound? And you even have a couple of examples here, right? I want to sound like a confident entrepreneur, or maybe I want to sound like Oprah. And so I want to show you this because I think it's really cool the way that it works. And the Oprah example is a great instruction, right? If you went and you just typed, I want to sound like Oprah, you're going to get like, let's say you're in a network marketing company and you're like, you do samples and it's going to be like, you get a sample, you get a sample. Like, you don't actually want to sound like a caricature of Oprah. Like, you want to sound like the kind and confident person that Oprah is, right? So let's just do that one first as an example, right? I want to sound like Oprah. So if I put that in here, what we're going to do for you is we're going to take Oprah's tone, we're going to analyze it, and we're going to give you descriptors of what is Oprah's tone really like. Well, Oprah's empathetic, she's inspirational, she's conversational, she's personal, she's engaging, she's a great storyteller, she's empowering. Like, if I want to sound like Oprah, like, that's what I'm actually talking about, right? Like, I'm not like doing the car thing or whatever. So this is going to allow you, if it is somebody whose voice you would like to emulate, to do it without sounding like a caricature of that person, which is obviously what we're going for here. Now, it might also be that it's not so much that I want to sound like a particular person, but I want this to sound like me. So let's say this actually is this is a real one that came up the other day, right? I'm working with some leaders who are like, she lives on a ranch in Texas, right? So let's say for me, I want to sound like a cowboy from Texas, right? She wants a little bit more of that vibe. Like, that's how she writes. That's who she actually is. And so if I was a cowboy, I want it to sound like me, right? I want it to sound laid back, rugged, colloquial, slang heavy, blunt, descriptive, earthy, right? And so, maybe, I don't know if maybe slang heavy isn't quite what I want, right? So maybe I go, okay, slang heavy isn't quite right. Let's say I want it to be plain spoken, right? So I can take one off, I can add one. I have the ability, so you can have up to 7 descriptors for how you want to sound to fine tune this. And obviously you can come back and play with this anytime, right? So maybe plain spoken sounds a little too plain spoken. What earthy, I don't, maybe it's like, I don't know. You can always come back here and make changes, but this is giving you this fantastic way to really have your AI sound like you. Let's do one more. So I want to sound, let's say, like, not a confident entrepreneur, but let's say I'm from Brooklyn, right? Like somebody from Brooklyn is going to have a little bit of a different manner of speaking, maybe a little bit more blunt, for example, than other parts of the country. So I want to sound like an entrepreneur from Brooklyn. Let's put that in there, right? Edgy, urban, innovative, direct, relatable, candid, trendy, right? Like, I really like that, right? Like, somebody who's from the big city, somebody who's from New York, they tend to be more direct. And so this gives you this ability to fine tune your writing style to sound more like you. Now, let's say I'm doing this for me now, right? So, if you haven't figured it out by now, I'm a little bit of a nerd, right? That part I can't really change, but I don't want to sound like a total like geeky nerd, right? If I'm doing this for me, I'm going to say I want to sound like a kind and confident nerd. That's the way that I see myself, and that's certainly how I aspire to show up when I'm creating content. So I want to sound like a kind and confident nerd, empathetic, assured, intellectual, curious, didactic, wow, warm-hearted, precise. So I don't know what didactic means, so I'm going to take that one off. And let's say I'm going to put engaging, right? Like I want to be somebody that feels kind of approachable. So I'm going to add engaging here. So those are going to be my words. And so once I have done that, I simply come in here, I save my changes, right? So you need to make sure you hit save. That's going to lock in those changes, and that's going to immediately start to show up in your posts, in your comments, and all the things that we're doing on my AI. So I save that. It's going to update my profile in the background, and now I am set to go. And so it's going to run my little training, and then we're going to go in there and we're going to use that to now go and create a post. So I'm going to come over here to post on social media, and I'm going to hit surprise me. And what's so cool is that this is allowing me to be able to create content that really is in my voice, that really feels like me, that really feels like it's coming from me, and it's tapping into the details of who I am. And I think that's such an important and powerful point, right? Is like it has to both sound like it's coming from me, right? Like I want it to tap into details of who I am. And you've already been training your AI to know about who you are. And then I want to make sure that voice really gets there. And this, I think, is that next step in that journey of helping me to do that. So let's see what my AI came up with for me here. I'm excited to show this to you. Hold on a second. There we go. Are you guys seeing my screen? Yes. Cool. Okay. So one of the things, if you don't know, I live in Colorado. One of the things every year I do a hiking trip with some of my best friends, and we are climbing the 14,000 foot peaks in Colorado. So Colorado has a bunch of 14,000 foot peaks. And so this is giving me a post that ties that into my entrepreneurship, right? Mountains aren't just earth and stone, they're a journey. One of my aspirations is to conquer all of Colorado's majestic 14,000 foot peaks. It's about the climb, the grit, and the unexpected laughs along the way. What's your adventure goal? Scale it with me in the comments. I love that. I love that this is giving me something that really, that sounds like that kind and confident nerd, right? That sounds like who I am. It taps into who I am. And so I am just like over the moon excited for you guys to get in there and start playing with this. This is live in your account right now. You can get in there and start doing it right away. And so I have a little challenge for you. I want to make sure, because this, like, you got to go do that so that it will update. So I want you to go in there, go make sure you play around with this. You set up your writing style. And I want you to do one other thing, right? I want you to go back and I want you to look at the Think Like Me and let me come back here so I can just show you what I'm talking about. I want you to come back in here to your Train My AI, and I want you to just update one or two things in your About Me or your Think Like Me, right? Add another interest, add a popular figure, because it's going to quote from your popular figures. Add another favorite book or movie, whatever it is, but add one thing over here too. That's going to even further enhance what you're doing. Save those changes. And I am so excited for you to get in there and start using this today. So thank you so much for giving me the chance to do that. Cheryl, I'm going to hand it back over to you.